Now that my drill press is in its new home and I've had a bit of a tidy up, long overdue you may say, I'm going to turn my attention to a new drill press table. This is my old drill press table, a piece of scrap MDF dropped on the top, kept in place with a few clamps. So I want to try and do a little better than that if I can. I've made a list of requirements for my drill press table this time. I've got to use the materials and hardware that are currently available in the workshop. I have no budget for this at the moment. I need the table to be removable with relative ease. I want a removable center insert. I want an adjustable fence with a stop on it. I need the fence to be removable in case I need to drill larger pieces. I want the ability to clamp pieces securely to the drill press table. And I need to make accommodations for dust extraction. So with all that firmly set in mind, let's get to it. I'll start by cutting the 2 baseboards I need out of this previously used piece of MDF. I'm going to make my table 350mm deep, as I think that will be just big enough and not too big. So I've got the best of the 2 boards set to one side, so I can use that as the top board. On the bottom board, I'm going to strike a line at dead center, which is 263. I'm going to position my board so it's right to the back of the column so that I can utilize as much space as possible, get the widest piece in should the need arise. But that also means it's going to catch this winding handle mechanism, which means I'm going to have to cut out an area of the back. And I want to cut out as little as possible. So I figure if I put some kind of mark there and there, and I took out an area, well, a valiant first effort and a lovely curve, but in my attempt to minimise the amount I've got to take out, I forgot to allow for the back end of the handle. So I'm going to have to take out a little bit more. So second time's the charm there. That's my basic shape for the table sorted, at least enough for now for me to be able to move on and start thinking about how I'm going to secure it. Now on my drill press table I've got these 4 slots which I'm going to use to bolt through. I've got this woodpecker hardware I found in the drawer at the back which I can use, which will give me a nice speedy removal and fix. But before I go drilling the holes through, I need to think about how I'm going to make this fence adjustable and removable. And for that, I'm going to use the Match Fit Micro Jig dovetail clamping system. And if you haven't come across this, I did a video on it a while ago. I'll put a link before. It's fantastic, versatile. The kit that keeps on giving. It's a must. So in order to work this out, I'm going to place the table where I need it to, mark the position of the slots underneath, and also while I've got the board here, I'm going to mark the position that I want to put the dovetail channels in to secure the fence in place. I want to come this way as much as possible, but I want to be able to locate right to the back, so I'll stay to the left of the cutout for the handle. This left hand side I'm going to offset a little bit more. I'm going to cut 100mm in from the side. So I'm going to square those back and see how it lines up with those slots. Absolutely fine. And that one's absolutely fine. So for clamping, I'm thinking of running 2 dovetail slots this way. So again, I need to be mindful of these. So that's my layout. These 2 lines represent the 2 dovetail slots I'm going to cut in the top board to allow my fence to move forwards and backwards, and I'm going to route them all the way to the edge so that I can take the fence off easily. These 2 lines represent the 2 lines I'm going to route 2 more dovetail slots in, so I've got this lateral clamping, if you like, and I've also marked the places where I want to drill the holes to pop the bolts into. I've chucked up another drill bit that's slightly smaller than the head of the bolt, so that when I compress it down with the knob, it will pull itself into that last bit of MDF and hold it securely in place. At least that's what I hope's going to happen. I've marked out a square in the centre for my insert, so I'll drill 4 holes in the corner and then cut the square out with a jigsaw. I've got the micro jig match fit dovetail bit set up in my router table at the right height, so now it's just a case of getting the bit centred on the lines that I've made, setting the fence and pushing the piece through. I'm going to transfer the cutout mark I made on the bottom board to the top board, and I'll cut that out on the bandsaw again, and then I think it might be time for a glue up. So I let the glue set up overnight. Now I'm going to trim the edges, round the corners and put a round over top and bottom. That's essentially the table complete. So I'll bolt it into place and then we'll move on to the fence. I've cut a piece of 9mm ply as narrow as I can get away with to act as the base of the fence, and I'm going to take another, I'd like it to be ply but I've run out, piece of 18mm MDF, and I'm going to screw that to the top of this baseboard. And I say as narrow as I can get away with, because if I go much narrower I won't be able to get my fingers behind and do up and undo those clamping knobs. And I want it as narrow as possible so I impact as little as possible on the available throat depth on the drill press. So the back fence, the upstand part, is that height because I need to connect some dust extraction as mentioned earlier. Now I don't know if the Festool extractor that I've got underneath the chop saw is the right extractor for this scenario, but it's there and I'm going to try it. So what I've done is 3D printed a little connector which I'm going to screw on the back of the upstand, and the hose will connect into there and then screw on the back. As I said, I've printed it at a 20-degree angle so I can get it as close to that pillar as possible and hopefully direct the airflow right over the bit. So I'm going to hold that just beside the column and then mark the outside of the flange, and I'm going to also mark back and front because the angle is important. I want to drill that hole on that angle. So I've cut a couple of pieces of scrap MDF at the angle that I need, just connected with a wee board in the middle, so that I can take my fence riser, pop that on top. I've got a board clamped at this end to stop the assembly scooting that way, and a board this end to stop it scooting that way, keeping it firmly back against the fence. I can just get away with missing the handle, and that is all firmly held in place, and I can drill my hole. So I'm going to route that dovetail channel through the middle, then I'm going to round the corners and round over the front and back edge and screw it to the fence, and we're done. And my fence is done. So it's nice and easy to move and remove. I have a dust extraction port. I've taken up the minimum amount of room on my drill press table, and I've got a little stop. I've got clamping ability, and I've got a removable insert. The dust extraction is as yet unproven, and time will tell whether that's in the right place at the right angle. I've a funny feeling that I'm going to need high volume dust extraction on the drill press, but time will tell, and I'll let you know in a future video. Hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time. Ta-ra.